Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast Radio.
Well, Endeavour is a global not-for-profit organisation which supports high-impact entrepreneurs. Since the formation of Endeavour Ireland in 2019, many Irish success stories such as Wayflyer and Strong Roots have become members of the organisation. Rory Guinan is the Managing Director of Endeavour Ireland, and he joins us now to discuss how it supports these high-performing organisations. Rory, before we discuss Endeavour Ireland, I'd like to get an insight into your own background.
Morning, Karl. Thanks for having me. Well, I guess I had a regular enough start to my career. I qualified as an accountant with PwC here and in the States. And then I went into financial services with KBC Bank, spending some time putting together syndicates of private clients that they had. In 2006, I moved into a small quasi-private equity-focused consolidated family office operation founded by Donald Slattery, who went on subsequently to be the founder of Avalon. Ultimately, the business was crushed by the financial crisis, but one of their core clients was Fergal Quinn and his family. So in early 2009, I went and I started working with them and formalising their investment, effectively putting a family office together for them. I did that for 11 years. It was a great time to be investing internationally and locally, fantastic people. And then in late 2019, I was approached to open the Endeavour Ireland office.
So Endeavour is a global organisation, so talk us through the support which it provides to high-impact entrepreneurs.
So Endeavour, in terms of its global footprint, has 41 offices across the world. We're 25 years in operation this year, and we have 4 core offerings. We're always fully aligned and focused on what the founder needs and what's best for the founder. So we're an entrepreneur-first organisation. And the core offering that we have is access to an unrivaled peer-to-peer network of trust. So non-judgmental, one-on-one conversations with people who've either been in the same situation as our entrepreneur members or are at the same stage right now. And effectively, myself and my colleagues locally, the team of 3 here on the ground, there's 500 across all the offices. And our job is to curate these one-on-one hour-long sessions, which effectively are high impact for the entrepreneur on the receiving end. Either they tease out, some challenges or strategies that they're struggling with, or they learn about the other person's, their own experiences, which will have identified as being positive and needed by the local entrepreneur. Alongside that, we've 3 other offerings. We've an access to talent. So as we mature, we're seeing people approaching us saying, look, I've worked in a multinational for a good number of years. I have all this experience. I'm not having an impact in the big company anymore. I want to get closer to the action. And I see the type of companies Endeavour Ireland works with, and I'd love to kind of talk to you about which of those my skill sets might work with. So that's another thing we do is access to talent. The third thing we do is access to market, almost like the IDA, where we'll introduce the Irish company to the Endeavour team in whatever geography they would like to learn about or they're exploring going into. The office, our colleagues in one of the other offices, be it in Asia, Latin America, the US, they will effectively service the Irish entrepreneurs as though they're one of their own. And that's worked very well for some of our companies so far. And then the last thing we do is we can access the capital team based in San Francisco, who across all 1,600 Endeavour companies, they're seeing tens of term sheets every week, and they know what real time is happening in the market in terms of valuation, terms, structures, etc. And they also can offer, a reverse reference service. So if an Irish founder is thinking of taking on money from Fund X, they will introduce that Irish founder to someone within the Endeavour network who has taken money, because what happens after the ink is dry is all important, not just money.
So you mentioned that you work with high-impact entrepreneurs. So how is that defined by Endeavour standards?
So we look for companies that have the potential to grow 10x. And that's 10x from where they are today, either in terms of revenue, valuation, or jobs. And then the impact is an interesting thing. So ultimately, what we want is to deepen a culture of entrepreneurship, because we think giving someone a job or creating jobs is the best social program going. So if we have more entrepreneurs locally, that will happen. So in terms of the impact, what we're trying to do, we recognized a long time ago that entrepreneurs do 3 things. They create jobs. They create wealth, not just for themselves, but their team and their early backers. And then that flows, all going well, on success, that flows into future companies and feeding other founders in time. But actually, the most important thing that we see in high impact entrepreneurs is that they act as beacons or role models. So we think that those successful entrepreneurs if you can see it, you can be it thinking will encourage others to follow in their path. So if you look at two of our members, you take Wayflyer, what they've done in 13 months is they've created wealth for their senior team and their early staff, but they've also given those staff confidence and muscle memory to go and do it themselves if they so wish. And then taking, let's say, a gin plus coffee or a strong root or a CPG product, the fact that Irish people, when they're in London or when they're in the States, will see those products in shelves or in clubhouses in gin plus coffee case, that will give them encouragement that, crikey, they're the Irish founded company, and here we are in Fifth Avenue and we're seeing a gin plus coffee clubhouse, or here we are in Whole Foods in Indianapolis and we're seeing strong roots on the freezer shelves. And that then will encourage people that you can build a global business from the island of Ireland. And that's what we want to do.
And what stage does a company need to be in its development cycle to be eligible to become a member of Endeavour?
So that's a good question in the sense that we're very much focused on scaling companies, and it's more the US definition of scaling. So if you were to put a number on it, and we're not fixated on numbers, in a SaaS business, it's probably north of 5 million ARR, and that would be different for different sectors. So if it's a consumer product, it would be a multiple of that. So most certainly the latter end of scaling, so true startup phase.
When a new member is being onboarded by Endeavour, what process do you follow with them?
So there's 4 stages to it. First, they meet with the team locally for a first opinion review. Then we will identify that in that meeting, we'll identify what their challenges are and where they need assistance, and everybody needs assistance. And we go off and we go into effectively the 8,000 person deep Endeavour network. So these are people who are either Endeavour entrepreneurs, board members, or mentors who have committed to give Endeavour time. And we'll go into that group and we'll find and identify the best, probably 10 to 12 names that we can introduce to the Irish entrepreneur. We'll go back to the entrepreneur and we'll say, we can get you a 60-minute call with any of these people, identify 6, the top 6 that you'd like to speak to. And what we do is we do a 1-page summary of their business and we share it with the mentor, let's say, and we listen to all of those calls. So we're in the background, and we call it selection as the service, our own SaaS model. So it's not a judgment from the mentor. It's actually a 2-way conversation. They try and add value to the Irish founder, and we listen to how the founder responds to those queries. We talk to the mentor afterwards, and if everyone thinks that the founder has the ambition, is thinking the right way about the strategy, and most importantly, is coachable or has a pay-forward attitude, well, then we bring them to what we call a local selection panel. And that's where the founder will sit with probably 3 of our board for an hour. We try and keep everything to an hour because everyone's busy. And again, they'll probe him or her on the business and how their ambition might take hold into the future. And they then will decide whether the person and the business is of the quality that we need. So we look at it through 3 lenses. We look at it through the timing, we look at it through the business, and we look at it through the entrepreneur themselves. And again, if he or she is successful at that local stage, we then go forward to what we call an international panel. And then they will meet 6 people from the Endeavour Global Network who in groups of 2, so 3 sessions with 2 people each time, they will discuss the same conversation with the candidate, and they will opine on whether that person is of sufficient quality. So at the moment, we're probably taking on globally across the 41 offices, we're only taking on, probably 80 to 85 new members each year. And that's out of tens of thousands of candidates or applicants or conversations that we've had across all those offices.
For any of these member companies to come on board, they have to have international expansion plans. So what are the most popular sectors?
The great thing about Endeavour and what makes my job interesting and more interesting is that we're sector. And, the proof of that is we're frozen vegetable business. So not all roads lead to tech, but inevitably to hit the scaling metrics that we look for of 10x, you need to be tech focused or at least tech enabled. So we definitely are a broad church of all sectors, but increasingly it is software or software focused businesses that are hitting the sweet spot of Endeavour. But again, Alan Holland in Coolbar, he is a AI for procurement business. Ex-Ocean up in Louth has a uncrewed sea vessel business, which maps the seabed using effectively drones sitting on the water. And then go the one before that, the member before that joined, Jim Coffee, which is the passenger business. So we're very much sector agnostic.
And in particular, whilst you outlined 4 different services that are available to your members, what is the top service in demand today?
Probably CPO discussions. So given the talent, and maybe this will change, hopefully not too much so, but talent was very scarce over the last 12, 18 months. And inevitably, when we met with anybody, whether they ultimately became an Endeavour entrepreneur or not, everyone was having the same challenge, and they wanted help with hiring, with talent, with retention, and/or all of a sudden, CPOs, chief people officers, became very much in demand. So either help hiring a CPO or speaking to an established, experienced CPO who could share his or her knowledge with the entrepreneur was probably the number one service. It was almost inevitable when we sat down with somebody and asked them where their challenges were, that people became a topic that they wanted to discuss.
And how did you help them overcome that problem?
So we have a very strong local CPO that offered us a lot of her time, Fiona Mullen, who formerly was with Microsoft, then Facebook, and then Ding, and now she's with a company called Bloom and Wild. And she was very generous with her time, and she would be very well regarded locally and internationally as a CPO. And she did some sessions for us with multiple people, or indeed one-on-one. And then a great thing about it, if you work with the right people, Karl, they're very generous with giving their own CPOs. So we were able to sort of cross-pollinate amongst both the selected entrepreneurs and our pipeline, and almost make a quasi-forum where the chief people officers felt a safe space where they could discuss their own challenges and their own learning. So that was another way that we sort of adapted and were agile enough to service them locally, because it was a huge problem for everybody at a point in time.
And for members that wish to gain some support from Endeavour with regard to international expansion and tapping into that international network of offices, talk us through on a very practical level what happens there.
So, somewhat bizarrely, Endeavour Ireland is included in the North Atlantic group of offices. So, and that's actually, that's pretty convenient, even though we have offices in Italy, Spain, Bulgaria, Poland, Romania, which in theory, European-wide, we should probably sit within that bracket. All Irish entrepreneurs inevitably look west and they look to the States. So we have a weekly call with all the US offices, whereby we discuss which of our entrepreneurs have challenges in a given week. We offer each other mentors from within our network to each other. And then, for example, we also run what we call circles, the CXO group. So we would have arranged a forum whereby the CTOs, if applicable, of our members, their CTOs would get together on a fortnightly call initially. And they, again, amongst themselves, would discuss where their challenges were and where their experiences could help each other. So very much sort of as a network, we would offer each other people that we, if there's someone that is a mentor within the Endeavour Ireland network, they're available to our colleagues in Northwest Arkansas or Colorado or Puerto Rico. And similarly, all those offices would share their network of mentors with us for the benefit of the Irish members.
Now, in conjunction with law firm Philip Lee, Endeavour Ireland has launched a scale-up programme for female entrepreneurs. Why was this programme created and what does it entail? So
we have 7 selected companies and 9 founders within that, because there's 2 co-founders in 2 companies. And they're all male. So clearly, there is a lack of women-led businesses at the stage that we need them to be. And when I say we, I mean Endeavour Global. We have no hand active part to play in the final selection. So the criteria are defined and set by Endeavour Global, And in Ireland, what we see, and this is a broad statement, the entrepreneurs where they're female-led businesses, they're 12 to 18 months early or too early before they get to the stage that we need to see them at for Endeavour. So we want to work with, obviously, female-led businesses and women entrepreneurs. So we've put together this program. And I have a colleague, Mika, who's with Endeavour Ireland for now 13 months. But prior to this, she was with Endeavour Argentina for 11 years. And they would have run a number of these scale-up programs. And quite often, they're either sector-focused or regionally focused. But we felt that giving a hand up to some very ambitious female founders was the best way to use this program. With Philip Lee, they came on board a few months ago, and we devised this program. So it's going to be a 5-month program that we're offering for 5 selected companies, where they will get the full benefit of the Endeavour Mentor Network for that 5 months. And we'll sit with them and we will tease out where their business challenges are, what their ambition is, and where we can help them. And we'll reach into the network and put together, we think probably over those 5 months, 10 one-on-one mentorships for each of those companies. So look, we're really excited. The idea selfishly for Endeavour is it will get us closer to these businesses, and hopefully it will turbocharge their growth, so that, whereas it might take them 18 months to get to it, they're an ARR business, it might take them another 18 months. Maybe with the benefit of this program, we can shorten that runway to bring them to that level within 12 months, all going well. So that's what we're going to do. It's open at the moment. If anyone who's interested looks up our LinkedIn page, so Endeavour Ireland on LinkedIn, or just Google Endeavour Ireland Scale Up, you should find the page where all the details are. And there's an application form there. Very simply, we're looking for women entrepreneurs based in Ireland who have that big dream, aiming to raise funds in the next 12 months. They're already working full-time in the business, and that business is revenue generating, or with a clear path to get there, because, again, not all businesses some businesses sort of do a lot of work and then the revenues come big quickly. So we're flexible on that. And we're already, it's been open for 10 days. We're already delighted with the applications, I think, which is testament to Philip Lee's ability and the reputation, I think, that Endeavour Ireland has got already. We're delighted with the applications, but more to come. And who knows, this could be the first of many programs. I actually do think we'll have 2 to 3 of these programs going in a given year, all going well.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Rory Guinan from Endeavour Ireland, and the Scale Up programme sounds like an exciting initiative for high-impact women entrepreneurs across the Southeast.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.